And now, CCW News presents Holy Crap, This Is Actually Happening! Democrats Are Killing It edition, August 20th, 2023. I'm Chuck U. Farley. The big news this week is the horrific mishandling of Maui's resources and emergency services that led to a staggering death toll due to entirely preventable wildfires. CCW News sends our heartfelt sorrow for each of the 111 reported victims, the more than 1,000 still missing, and their families. After spending the first several days lounging on a Delaware beach and answering reporters asking about the devastation with a smile and a no comment, Biden sent a paltry $2.3 million in FEMA aid, which includes $700 per household that lost literally everything. $700. Remember, Ukraine has gotten over $120 billion and counting. Biden is now on his way for another vacation to Lake Tahoe. Word is Jill and Joe might actually carve out a few hours from their most recent lake vacation to visit Maui on Monday. We'll see. Meanwhile, Hormel Foods has sent 264,000 cans of its famous potted meat, with 2 more truckfuls coming, along with millions more in cash aid and other relief items. They have also partnered up with Convoy of Hope and local Hawaii retailers to stock up local food banks, fundraise, and help with shelters. Leave it to Joe Biden to get outclassed by spam. President Trump has been indicted. Yet again. This time they really super duper do got him for realsies, they are pretty sure. In fact, they are so sure that the Georgia grand jury's decision was published before the Georgia grand jury had convened, or were even chosen. I swear, I am not making this up. The Democrats have gotten so good at election meddling that they don't even pretend to blame Russia anymore. The myriad of charges include then-candidate Trump stating that he would win in 2020. This is, of course, totally prosecutable, as no candidate in the history of the First Amendment or politics in general has ever stated such a preposterous thing. Other felonies they are pursuing include quoting the Constitution, making a phone call to book a hotel room, and calling the VP a wimp. No, really, I am not making this up. Meanwhile, Biden's handlers got mixed up and tweeted, or X'd, or whatever they're calling it this week, what was supposed to be a post from Biden himself, but it went on John Luke Diversity Hire's account by accident. She said, quote, "When I ran for president, I made a promise I would leave no part of the country behind." End quote. Biden's handlers then immediately deleted the post, leaving a large part of the country behind, to wonder why anyone believes these brain donors have any idea how to use social media, much less run a country. Because trading the Merchant of Death for a barely passable, drug-addicted WNBA player wasn't a bad enough deal, the child sniffer-in-chief is trying to outdo even himself. Once a proud country that did not negotiate with terrorists, we now have our own domestic terrorists that burn, loot, and murder in their towns with the blessing of the elites ignoring them. Now the Biden cabal is gearing up to pay a $6 billion ransom for 5 Americans held hostage in Iran. But don't worry, folks. Tehran pinky swears that they'll only use that $6 billion for humanitarian reasons, such as food and medicine, and double pinky swear that the U.S. constantly paying any price to get back hostages will in no way incentivize them to hostage harder. On the topic of Democrat success stories, the once beautiful Emerald City has now hit the top of the list of dystopian hellholes that sane people cannot wait to flee. After the Summer of Love, which saw entire city blocks taken over by domestic terrorists, blessed and ignored by elites, Seattle has been circling the drain, much like a toilet. That is, if anyone in that city could be bothered to actually use a toilet instead of the city's streets. Speaking of coming a long way, baby, a federal court in Texas rejected a lawsuit by the Satanic Temple that argued the state's pro-life laws violate its members' First Amendment rights because abortion is a protected satanic ritual. I swear, I couldn't make this up. The anti-Christian activist organization admits their debauchery is typically just on-the-nose stunts, so it's a good thing our tax dollars are being wasted on frivolous lawfare so that atheists can make headlines. In truth is stranger than fiction news, the indigenous Iquito tribe of Peru have reported that their community is being terrorized by 7-foot-tall aliens. They describe the beings as floating and bulletproof, and compare them to the folktale of Les Palacaras, or the Face Peelers. After a thorough investigation, authorities believe that the invaders are actually illegal gold miners from Colombia and Brazil who are using jetpacks to get around. This is real, folks. This is actually happening. Meanwhile, it turns out that Elon Musk's platform, formerly known as Twitter, has been engaging in link shenanigans. Yes, even the poster child for free speech is a censorious elitist like the rest. He's just not as obvious about it. Since the Feathersoft application of a whopping 5-second load delay affected content on Reuters and the New York Times, the government-controlled fake news is big mad. Other sites affected included direct competition like Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram, all of which engage in rampant, obvious censorship and suspensions, even full user deletions, even of a sitting U.S. president, but those are okay because it is all one-sided. The delay has since been lifted, but boy oh boy are the Pravda bots pretending they started caring about free speech all of a sudden. Joe Biden continues to discredit the mounting evidence that he, as vice president, was heavily involved with his son's treasonous extortion rackets in Ukraine and China, even though he himself bragged about it on video. No siree, Joseph R. Biden never, ever spoke to his son about any of his business dealings, which took place with the help of Air Force Two and old Sniffy Joe's many visits to those countries with his son he didn't talk to. Nope. In fact, recently released emails and other documents show that it was actually some guy by the name of Robert L. Peters, aka Pedo Pete, as members of old Joe's family, including his treasonous son, have been known to affectionately call him. Nothing to see here. Move along. For CCW News, this has been Holy Crap, this is actually happening. I'm Chuck U. Farley. Good night, and may God help us.